It's the Samsung Galaxy A55 after 2 months, and this is something that I highlighted in my very first video on this device. Like the A54 last year, for whatever reason, the A5 series seems to fall through the cracks with Samsung with pricing. We have this device now, 2 months after release. Link in the description does help the channel. $370 was the lowest price that I found for a new one. Now I understand it's an overseas model. You're going to be limited to T-Mobile, some MVNOs as well in there. But if you're somebody that has one of those carriers, this is a phenomenal deal on a brand new device that just came out that's really premium for the mid-range, but sub 400, it's one of the best offerings that you're going to get. Really phenomenal. And just like last year with the A54, if you go and read the comments, or thousands of comments now on the videos I've done on this device, and you could see over 95% of those people who actually have used it enjoy it. The ones who seem to hate on it or whatever is because of some blanket Exynos hate that we're going to talk about a little later on. But this device, for people who have used it, has been absolutely fantastic. People have asked me about 5G on it, T-Mobile coverage. Just fine. I get the ultra-wideband, all that stuff. So the high band or whatever for the 5G, I get everything working just fine on this device. Great T-Mobile coverage and no issues there whatsoever. And the one thing that I want to highlight on this, especially now for $370, I was going to say this is $450, but now with $370, it's an absolute slam dunk. This is one of the best battery-to-performance devices that you're going to find in that budget, high-end budget, and kind of mid-range device class. And what do I mean by that? There are plenty of budget devices that get outsized battery life. I don't know how many of these cheaper devices that I get 8-9 hours of screen on time like it's nothing, because they're running, dimmer displays, and they're running, LCDs or whatever, and they also have these low power chipsets and all the rest of it. So that's not something that's outstanding. But the performance on those devices is usually lacking. You wouldn't care about 8 or 9 hours of screen on time because you'd want to gouge your eyes out if you actually used it for that long. That's not the case with the A55. This device here gets you that outsized battery life. Easily 8.5 hours of screen on time without breaking a sweat on this thing. It's just absolutely incredible. But the performance that you get for that is amazing in comparison. So when you talk about dollar value, you talk about the battery life, and you talk about the actual functionality you get on this device, it is a fantastic, fantastic, fantastic package. And I can't highlight that enough, especially for $370. You can do gaming just fine. We highlighted that the last time, where I was able to do, Call of Duty Mobile. You're at pretty decent settings, too. We're not talking about lowest settings and lowest FPS. You're getting high FPS. You're getting good settings. Genshin runs okay on it. Pokemon Go, lighter stuff, can run just fine on it. It's super smooth. The heating seems to be relatively under control with the Exynos 1480. That's not something that you could say with previous versions. And when we talk about performance, everybody loves benchmarks and 2-2 scores and all the rest of it, which usually makes me throw up. But if you're somebody who likes that, then the Exynos 1480 is somewhat on par with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. And when you throw in the fact that the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, and this is kind of bizarro world, but the 1480 is actually better on heat and power performance and power efficiency than the Snapdragon is. So I know everybody's like, oh, it's an Exynos, it's an Exynos. We really got to stop with that. Very few things in this world are black and white, especially when you're dealing with tech and the nuances that go into these chipsets and all the rest of it. Is Samsung capable of some really stinky chipsets with Exynos? Absolutely, we've seen them. They got that reputation for a reason. But to turn around and just think, well, just throw a Snapdragon in and it just magically solves everything. How quickly we forget the Snapdragon 808, the 821 that lagged and was awful, the 8888 that was a heat monster, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 that wasn't power efficient and overheated as well. How quickly we forget. It's not perfect on the other side of the fence either. So take each product as it comes along. Take each chipset as it gets put in a device. The 1480 is one of the best ones in years. It provides excellent value in the mid-range. It gives you great battery life in this device, and you get that performance with the gaming and all the rest of it that you're going to want. Stuff is silky smooth, 120 hertz. It's not the oversaturated panel that you're used to from Samsung, but it is one of their best ones. It is crisp. It is clear. It is a pleasant panel to look at. Content looks amazing on this phone. 6.6-inch display, nice and big. 8 gigs of RAM is going to keep everything cached and flowing well. I don't know how to explain this device anymore to people, but it's just, you really have to get it out of your head that somehow this phone is incapable because of the Exynos, because I'm telling you that's not the case. This is one of the best mid-range values in years, and it's just as I thought. They are just as aggressive with the sales on this as they have been in previous years. That has to be why this phone didn't come to the United States. Because I don't know why. It would be eating the A35's lunch. It would be eating the Samsung S23 FE's lunch. They wouldn't be able to sell one. And I don't understand. They sell all of them. What difference does it make if they sell more of these? I don't know why they're pushing that A35 on people. I mean, it's fine if you like it, whatever else. It's a premium design. They kind of upgraded that as well. But that Exynos 1380 is a little long in the tooth, and it certainly doesn't give you the performance that this does. And now we're talking that this is cheaper than what they're selling the A35 for on the Samsung site. A35 is going to run you $400 right now on the Samsung site. I'm sure Amazon has it cheaper. But $370 for this new brushed aluminum frame. Great look. Glass front and back, premium. I mean, the actual feel of this device alone. Sub $400 devices are giving you, for the most part, plastic frames, plastic, whatever, and that's not bad. Okay, I got the Moto G stylus in. I'm testing it right now. There's probably going to be a video tomorrow on that. I like it a lot. But $400, you get the eco leather back, you get plastic frame, and all the rest of it. This feels like a flagship device. It's that size. The display is up to that caliber. The performance is decent enough. The battery life is outsized. And the price is excellent. Now, is it perfect? No. I'd love to see some Galaxy AI stuff come to this. I'd love to see, I understand. I think they're doing that as like a differentiation thing. I think Samsung is holding Galaxy AI back. This is an unlocked model. Maybe it's already on. Maybe there's an update this month. I haven't gotten it yet that brings some of that functionality. But I'd love to see Circle to Search. I'd love to see a couple other things, that photo editing. I'd love to see a couple things on this device come down the pike. And the reason why is that, like I said, the horsepower is there. It's essentially a Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. And the Galaxy S22 Ultra that is running that chipset has gotten a lot of those features. So I think it's a little artificial on Samsung's part not to bring those features here, and that's a little disappointing, since the phone can absolutely support it. So if they're making that like an A-series thing where it doesn't come to the A-series, hey, that's why you upgrade to the other one. I get it. I don't like it, but what it is what it is. But I would like to see some of the Galaxy AI stuff trickle down to the A55. But either way, even if you don't get it, and certainly there's a great number of people that don't care about the Galaxy AI stuff, this is still a fantastic value. And the cameras, yes, cameras can improve. Okay, cameras are weak on this phone. But I don't think that's something that can't be fixed in software. And if you really don't care about that, the image is good enough. It's just drab. So you can punch it up, put the saturation slider up, whatever you got to do. But I think that this is just 370. When I saw that before I went live, it's just, woo, that is some value. That is value you don't see anymore. And I think, if for people to miss out on that for just really dumb reasons would be incredibly disappointing to me. So if you're thinking about this phone, if you're on the fence, if you're waiting for a great entry point, 370 is a heck of an entry point. Look around. Just look around at the landscape of the other devices. And then what you get here. And, One UI and all the rest of it. There's 5 years of support, 8 gigs of RAM, beautiful display. And you really think, you'll really start to see how the A55 pulls ahead of the competition. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.